Welcome to episode 10, TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. It's been a long week, and start off by saying I kind of have a little stirring in my soul. My heart's a little heavy today, and it's kind of one of these things of just the past few days. Every once in a while, I'll remember maybe a time I was less than perfect, way less than perfect, let's say, or my behavior wasn't on point. Maybe I was mean to my mom, my dad, my wife, my daughter, my grandmother. So you feel some shame. And, it just kind of keeps coming up. So I figured I would discuss it a little bit because the goal is to be as open and honest and vulnerable. Yeah. So that's kind of what makes it hard to talk about. But I'm sure everybody's kind of felt this way at some point in time. Maybe you said something you didn't mean. You acted a way you didn't want to act. And you feel ashamed. And maybe rightfully so. But all we can do is we can ask God for forgiveness. We can ask the people we hurt for forgiveness. And then work on forgiving ourselves. Show ourselves a little bit of grace. Because we're all not perfect. We all have bad moments, make poor choices, have a poor choice in words. But I think it's important not to let those moments define us. Because you're not a moment. You have a whole life, however long that is. And I think as long as you do more good than bad, that's kind of the goal. And, the other part of that is some of these people who are closest to you, I don't know why we end up hurting the people who are closest to us or the people we care about the most, but we do, even if it's unintentional. But, we can ask them for forgiveness, and because the road runs both ways. More than likely, we have seen our partners, our children, our parents at their worst as well. And so, just as you would want to be forgiven, you have to forgive them. And you have to remember that they're not that moment either. They can evolve and change. And I think it's just as important to not bring it up all the time or be that constant reminder of what somebody did, said, whatever. I think it's you can be upset. You can take some time and not speak to that person, whatever it is, but at the end of the day, as long as it's not overly egregious, or a deal breaker, then you try to forgive. So, I said it, I got it out there, I got it out of me. I don't think I'm the only one who deals with these kinds of feelings, but, so I want to express that, because maybe somebody else feels that way. You're not alone, and it's okay. But, it kind of brings me into looking at the past 5 months or so of starting the podcast. It's been a rough 5 months, kind of a shit show, if you will. And if you haven't listened to any of the previous episodes, I've had car issues, which is a pain in the ass for anyone, but especially if you're an Uber driver. My daughter's been sick quite often. My mother's sick. We had to put one of our pets to sleep a week ago, who we had for 17 years. So it's been rough, to say the least. But, with that, I don't... Today's 12/1. It's the day of Elf on the Shelf, Advent calendars. So let's go more positive. Let's turn it around, because you're either in the storm, going into a storm, or coming out of a storm. And for me, I feel like the past 5 months have been in the storm. So I'm ready to come out the other end. So on this podcast, I already said kind of my serious things in a way. I kind of want to keep the rest of it lighthearted, funny. It may be offensive to some, but it's me nonetheless. And part of that is, I don't want to censor myself. We have plenty of outside organizations. Even though we have free speech, it doesn't matter if it's YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Everybody wants to censor. But, to me, it's kind of one of these things is, hey, if you don't like it, you don't have to listen to it. Scroll on by. Don't follow it. Don't listen to it. Go listen to whatever it is you want. It's a free country. These are choices we make. Just like food, If you go to a place and you don't like it, you don't have to eat it. You make the choice. Just don't piss and moan about it. Or try to be all self-righteous and virtue signal and tell me how wrong I am, or how much you hate what I said, or how offended you are, because I really don't care. You don't like it? Go on by. Go find something that suits you. Go be you. We're all different. We all like different things. So, enough for that. Let's get on to some of my observations that are kind of funny, maybe a little offensive. But, if you know me, I'm a huge fan of comedy. So, they're like jokes. It's not all intentional. They're jokes. It's supposed to be funny. A little bit, maybe. So, let's get this on the road. So today I'm actually partially set up in the office I've been talking about. I got my iMac up. Going to use GarageBand today. Give that a whirl because if you use Spotify for podcasters through the phone, the app, they limit you to 30 minutes, and that's kind of why my podcasts have been 20-ish to 30 minutes. So we're going to give this a little whirl so I can go longer, because in the future I would definitely like to have people on, talk to people, interview people, whatever that is. So we're going to give this a whirl, see if the sound quality is different. So yeah. But I made some notes. So often, you guys know I'm an Uber driver. If you don't know, I am. I do mostly Uber Eats. With Uber Eats, man, I deliver everything from car batteries, balloons, office chairs, dog food, prescriptions. You name it, I deliver it. And I enjoy it quite a bit. But, so, some of the worst ones are when you get a pickup and let's say you got to go into the mall. I mean, it's a pain in the ass to find parking, first of all. And then, of course, you got to walk through the damn mall, navigate that. And then you got to wait. And it's usually like Chick-fil-A or something. So, but one day I'm going through that entrance, and I don't know if your mall has this, but our mall has a nail salon. And I walk through, and it just hits me. I like see all, everybody knows most nail salons, Asian people working, Asian owned. And it just pops in my head. I'm like, some of them wear masks. But, like I was stationed in Japan in the Navy, and, in the Far East, they're more apt to wear masks. So it doesn't always seem abnormal. Like, if they're sick, they do it kind of for the courtesy and respect of others. But, my initial thought was, man, imagine hours, days, and years of huffing, sitting in all those chemicals, nail polish remover, and all that stuff. And I'm like, man, that probably make you a little crazy, a little off. And so what pops into my head is like, instead of crazy rich Asians, was crazy ass Asians, because they've been sitting around huffing nail polish remover all day. You gotta wonder why they're a little quick with their tongue and their enunciation. But yeah, I thought that was kind of funny. And then, let's see, my next note over here is, so I was listening to a podcast, and they were talking about the masking situation and all this stuff, and then I saw like a clip somewhere, and or it might have been on the podcast, but basically they were explaining what felching was. If you don't know what felching is, you can go look it up yourself. I'm not going to explain it because I'm not 100% sure what it is, but for the premise of this, I think I know what it is. Or it makes sense in what I'm about to say. But, I heard felching, masks, and the first thing I think of is Fauci. Maybe we should start calling him Felchy. And, it's going to be kind of hard to felch with a mask on. So, yeah, kind of the dichotomy of that. A little interesting. But that's just kind of a dig at him, the whole mask situation, all the stuff out there that everybody knows and has gone through and heard the past 3 years on COVID masks. Are they effective? Whatever. Is the government lying? Are they not? But whatever. All right. Also, there was we went out of town. We've been going out of town a lot lately, it seems. And we were in Dallas, and we went into a Lululemon store because my daughter wanted one of those like crossbody kind of fanny pack things that the girls are wearing. And man, I walked in for about maybe 30 seconds, definitely less than a minute, and there was just way too many Lululemon pants and butts walking around. My brain was like, when your computer, like, you go to the web page, it's like 404 not found or whatever it is. It's just like, it is way too damn much. So I stepped outside, and it's like, but of course then you're seeing everybody in spandex walking in there for more spandex, everybody who just bought spandex walking out. And I sit there and I'm like, shit, man. Even the mannequins got on the spandex. There's too much damn spandex. I can't be around that. So, because it's great, Nothing. Guys, hey, I think it's okay to appreciate a nice butt, a nice physical appearance. It's a compliment. That's why people work out, diet, eat right. It's why there's I don't even know how big the fitness industry is, and, but everybody's trying to sell you something. So, for those who work hard and got it, congratulations. I'm sure there's men and women alike who admire it. So, next note. Let's see. So, me, my mother, my daughter all live together. And, living with 3 women, 3 different generations, I feel a bit like I'm the UN peacekeeping force at times. I don't know what it is. Other than, my previous life as a manager and having maybe 3 or 4 men who worked for me in the totality, and mostly women, there's just something about when you get women who spend too much time together, they just naturally fight. I don't know what it is. They argue, they want to be right. Sometimes it's over dumb shit. So yeah, I feel like I'm the one who, I love all 3 of the women. My mother, my wife, and my daughter. They're the 3 most important women in my life. But, man, I tell you what, it's like sometimes you don't want to be in it. But at the same time, me, it's, hey, I don't, you kind of try to stay out of the way, I guess you could say. But then at some point, you want to step in and make it better. Men like to fix things. That's what we do. We're like task completers. So it makes it hard, and oftentimes I don't necessarily have to fix it, but I think it's normal. I mean, it's the same with men. All men don't always get along. Too many of them hanging out together. There's conflict. I mean, I was in the military. And when I was in the Navy, there weren't any women on ships. So, just a whole aircraft carrier full of testosterone. So you can bet your ass there's conflict. And people don't get along. So, I get it. But also, it's kind of one of those things of, I'm trying to, I have a 10-year-old daughter. I'm trying to teach her things the way, trying to educate her, trying to shape her to grow up and be a good person, good human being. And, one of the things I'm trying to, I guess, teach or explain is that, sometimes when 2 people are arguing, it's like a fight to the death over who's right or who can have the last word. And it solves nothing. So I'm kind of like of this thing of, hey, regardless of what it's about, I think both people should kind of maybe just, you take responsibility for your own shit or whatever. Even if the other person is wrong and they're 80% of the problem, you still need to own your 20% of your bullshit. What you brought to the argument, why the argument started, why you won't back down, whatever. And so, it was like my wife and daughter arguing or about something, and, and I try to tell my daughter she needs to kind of take responsibility for her part and maybe just say I'm sorry to my wife. And she kind of didn't understand it, so it's something that we'll have to continuously go over. But, I'm in my 40s, and just realized this not too long ago. as I've been working on myself. So, yeah, I can't expect a 10-year-old to, you know, be a master of this. But all I can do is kind of keep reinforcing it and also be the example. That's something I can do. But yeah, so, just think about that. If you got brothers, sisters, whatever, you live in that kind of situation, even your spouse or a best friend, it happens. Own your part of the bullshit and squash it. Again, unless it's egregious and there is no squashing it. Or it's past the point of no return and it's a relationship ender, be it a friend, be whatever. So, we got to be better people. We got to be kinder to each other. We got to help each other out. There's enough division and everything in the world to, we just don't need it. And all we can control is what we can control, which is yourself, your attitude, how you react, what kind of person you are. Are you going to be the bigger person? Are you going to be the better person? Are you going to say, can you squash your ego enough to say, hey, I was wrong, or I fucked up, or whatever it is. Please forgive me. Kind of goes back to that beginning thing. But own your shit. Apologize when necessary. Remember your friends and your family. I mean, they're the people who love you the most. They're the people you love the most. And the people you would want to do things for and have them do things for you. So, when you feel like you're at that point, I think it's just, it kind of goes back to what I said in the beginning of, sometimes we hurt the people who are closest to us. And that's part of being close to someone is they're able to hurt you. But also when you're close to somebody, if you truly love or respect somebody, you don't go out of your way to hurt anyone intentionally. And so I think that's where you own your shit and say, hey, that was not my intentions, or I was just giving out tongue lashings because I can't deal with my stuff, or I'm unhappy, or whatever it is. So, and, that brings me to another point is, I like to drink, but I don't. Or let's just say I haven't drank since my birthday. So, and it was kind of sparse between there, but, some people are fine and some people like it, but, I just get a little mouthy. I don't know. I guess I could say I can be I can be fun, I can be funny, I can laugh and giggle and have a good time, but I have like this switch. And when I drink, if somebody rubs me the wrong way, wrongs me, or at least in my eyes, then I go off, kind of, get a little crazy, act a fool. So, imagine Conor McGregor meets Cheech Marin. I can be either one, but, I prefer to err on the side of Cheech. Be a little calm, be a little funny, don't get too stressed out. Don't get too crazy. Don't throw chairs at buses and break windows and all the other stuff Conor McGregor does, which is probably a reflection of how I acted sometimes when I drank. So I'm just not drinking. Pretty easy. Some people, some people are fine, like my wife. I mean, she can have a drink, she can have 2 drinks, it just makes her tired. Doesn't do anything. But, Another part of being open and vulnerable is, I have two sides of a family who all have had addiction issues, maybe of some sort. Some are positive, some are negative. I have family members who are workaholics. I've had family members who maybe took medicine all the time. Family members who drink every day. And it's something I kind of want to stop with me. I don't want my daughter going through it. I mean, she doesn't even like to take medicine, so I respect that. I just worry sometimes that she's so concerned with the taste of medicine that she's unwilling to take medicine to get better because she's so grossed out by it. And, I'm like, you got to choose getting well over being grossed out. But, young kids are still in that kind of liquid medicine phase. And so kind of with those dissolvable Claritins, I've been trying to, because they don't dissolve as soon as they hit your tongue, but kind of teach her how to maybe start swallowing medicine or pills. So, when she gets older, if she's worried about taste and she needs an antibiotic, maybe she can just take a pill. And so, but also, that's kind of the double-edged sword, is you don't want somebody who gets so comfortable with taking pills and think that pills are going to do everything, because they don't. It's kind of, some people need medication every day. But most medicine is not like a everyday thing. So, who wants to take pills every day? My goal over the past 3 years has been to take less medication. And I've managed to do that. But, my time from working in the medical field and having familial issues with people who just go too hard is, do you want to take pills till you're 80? There's medication shortages right now, so there's people who can't get their meds. I mean, it's just too much. If there's something you need every day, like I take a blood pressure medicine, but I was on 2. Now I'm down to 1. But that's because I've been exercising. I've been doing things to try to combat that. So, you got to take care of yourself in order to not be that person who's going to be reliant on medicine the rest of their life. Because there can be shortages. Everybody knows drugs are expensive as shit. It's like a habit, kind of. I mean, if you take 4 or 5 prescriptions and you got the co-pays, $50, $100 a month, whatever it is, it's still, even if you got insurance, you got to pay co-pays. You got to pay your deductible, You got to pay for $200 cash straight out until you reach that. So it's, I would say if you don't need it, get off of it. Don't take pills to numb out, solve your problems, or whatever it is. Because even if it doesn't impact you mentally, which they usually always do, it impacts you physically, in that your body kind of develops that need, that want for it. And so when you go off of it, your body starts acting out, or you feel like shit, which in turn impacts your brain. And your brain's like, I feel like shit. And then you just kind of spiral down, and, that's the kind of impact of anything, I would think. If you do it daily, you're going to have some sort of slingshot rebound effect. So my advice is, hey, if you don't need it, don't take it. Look to eat better, exercise, laugh. You know, I try to. I listen to comedy podcasts often while I'm Ubering. I like to watch ridiculousness. I think it's important, super important, to get a laugh a day. It's so healing. And to remember, hey, not to take all this shit so serious, because the world's a crazy place right now. It's nuts. And there's just so much negativity. So, don't be part of the problem. Be part of the solution. Be kind to people. Say nice things. And, yeah. But also, I had this thought the other day. People often talk about, oh, I don't let my kids watch this or watch that or do this or do that, maybe like on the internet. And yes, I think it's important to limit your kids to age-appropriate content, etc., etc. But, I kind of subscribe to the internet is pretty much the modern day school bus. So you can do everything right at home just like my parents did, but trust me, when your kid gets on the school bus, you don't know what they're hearing. You don't know what other kids are bringing to the table. I heard all my first curse words and whatever on the school bus. So, yeah, I think it's, you have to talk to your kids. You have to treat them like people. I think sometimes we make the mistake of, I think there are age appropriate ways to talk to different ages of kids, but some kids are different. Some are more advanced. Some are, so you have to talk to them on their level. Make them understand, hey, this is what's out there. If you see it, like my daughter doesn't cuss. Not around me. She spells it out and she tells on my dad every time he cusses. So I don't think I don't worry about that. Exposure doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to take on that behavior, but, you can do all these things and figure out a way to limit what they intake. But, you got to remember, your kids are, unless you're homeschooled, they're being exposed to other kids in other places, and you have no idea what those kids are looking at, hearing, seeing at home, what their family is like. So, it kind of goes into that. You have to control what you can control, and try not to worry too much about what you can't control. You can give your children the education and whatnot, but it's up to them to make good decisions. My parents were never like, don't do this, don't do that. They were more like, hey, if you do this, this is kind of the outcome, this is what would happen. And they just relied on me. And I was good. And part of it, I don't know if it was because I had goals of wanting to go to one of the military academies or the military, and I knew that if you got in trouble, that would impact that. So, I had friends who in high school were maybe smoking weed, drinking, underage, typical high school teenage shit. And I never did any of it because I was like, hey, this is what I want to do with my life, and if I get in trouble, that's going to impact that. But, a lot of people succumb to peer pressure, so, I don't think I have any kids listening to this, but if there are, or even if you're a young person who still succumbs to peer pressure, just don't. You live your life, let other people live their life. You don't have to do what everybody else does. And chances are, if it's something that makes you feel uneasy, listen to it. You're probably not missing anything, except maybe a trip to jail, getting in some trouble, or if you're young and really dumb, or old and really dumb, drink and drive, you run the risk of getting in an accident, killing yourself, killing someone else. So, going to jail for a long time. I've known people with DUIs, and, habitual offenders can go to prison for life. But, hey, a first-time offender, I knew a guy who, he had to blow into a machine to get his car started. You got to pay all kinds of fees. You got to be on probation. That comes with fees. That comes with all kinds of inconveniences, let's just say. So, young or old, if you're listening, don't be dumb. Just, if you're going to do it responsibly. Call an Uber, have a friend. Don't take the chances. It's not worth it. Let's see here. Also, let's see what we got. Uber. So, as most of you know, I really enjoy Uber. I enjoy the flexibility. I enjoy delivering happiness to people. I love, I delivered to a blind guy, and it was my second time delivering to him, and he remembered my voice, and that was pretty cool. But, there's people who can't get out. Sometimes I'll deliver like 250-pound bags of dog food and to older people, or, it's just enjoyable to serve others. I'd probably do it for free sometimes, but I'm glad I get paid for it. I mean, these people need it. It's a service. I'm providing a service. But I just like the sheer fact that, hey, I'm helping somebody do what they can't or what they don't want to do, or just making their day a little better. I mean, if they can afford something and they want to order in, be it for a family or whatever, themselves, hey, I'm happy to deliver, to make your day. But like any corporation, I don't interact much with anyone from Uber, which I enjoy quite a bit. Not that I don't like interacting with people, but let's just say there's not like a ton of oversight. I don't like micromanagement, shit like that. So, but almost this kind of goes with the 12 years I spent in healthcare, and now Uber. It's like pesky little IT people just cannot keep their fucking little paws off of trying to fix shit or trying to, I don't know what they're doing. It's like the app's changing, like maybe where the button is, how the trip comes up, how you have to confirm something, whether it's a press or a slide, or, you used to just press the pop-up and accept the trip, and now there's an accept button. Some things are better. Maybe. I think there's ways to make improvement. Are these damn IT people doing shit all the time just to justify their jobs or just to have something to do? Maybe the manager of the IT department's like, well, we gotta, I think there's nothing wrong with continuously improving. Don't get me wrong. That's what I strive for physically, mentally, spiritually, and as a human being, is just to evolve and get better. But there are sometimes in life where things are okay. Leave well enough alone. If it works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, it's like what the you know. Hey. And I've had this issue one time where I go to pick up like an order, and I know where this place is. I go to the place, but it's trying to tell me that my pickup is down the road in the area that is in the middle of a bridge. And so I can pick up the order, but it won't let me start the delivery until I go to the middle of that bridge that's maybe 2 miles away from the actual pickup. Because it won't pick up. It thinks you're not at the location. It's like, hey, you start delivery. It's like, you're not at the location. Blah, 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 blah. And I've called Uber a couple of times. This has happened to me, I think, 3 times. Two times with one place, Piata, and one time with a Mexican restaurant. But, it's like, you want to fix something. How about you fix that? Quit changing all the buttons every 5 minutes. Quit changing the way it looks every 5 minutes. You want to do something? How about you make sure the GPS matches up with the actual place? How about that? Make my life easier. You want to do something else? And this may sound offensive. It's partially a joke. It's partially true. I'm only speaking facts. So if you hate the facts, then you hate them. But why am I always on the phone with an ESL person? And if you don't know what ESL is, that's English as a second language. They don't, when I try to explain to them what's going on, that the pickup location doesn't match the map and blah, 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 they don't understand. They're basically, hey, I can understand broken taco, a little bit of Spanish. I can speak it a little bit, but that's my extent. You would not catch me working the call center for Telemundo because there's no way I'm speaking Spanish when a Mexican calls in to complain or request something. I don't know. So why do these companies, yes, they outsource cheap labor, put call centers, pay people penny on the dollar, because they don't want to pay people in America a worthwhile wage to do an actual job and have, when I call somebody, I could get somebody who understands. It's just irritating, And so sometimes I just have to decide, hey, is this even worth the fight? But, at the same time, too, I have a respect for people who want to work, people who are trying something difficult. Because I know if I were working for Telemundo, it would be challenging. It would be difficult. But then I think at some point, certain people rise to the occasion, certain people don't. But also, if I'm calling a call center in India, let's say, their country's not set up the way ours is. Their laws aren't the same. How can I expect them to know what I'm talking about or trying to explain? But who cares about me? Why does whoever runs Uber think that that's okay? To think that, this is the best solution, this is the best way. I don't know. It's strange. But one of the great things about Uber is, anyone can do it. We were out of town and got some food delivered to us. And, it was a daddy-daughter combo delivering. And you could tell that the first that the dad was probably born in Mexico and didn't really speak English that much, and the daughter who was with him was kind of the navigator, reader. She looked probably 13, 14, but, kind of the translator. And so I dig that because, I'm not going to hate on anyone out there trying to get their hustle on, trying to make money, trying to provide for their family. I've Ubered with my wife before. I've Ubered with my wife and my daughter, and it's actually kind of fun. It's something you can do together, so you're kind of spending that time together. But yeah, I'm not going to hate on anybody trying to hustle, even if English is your second language. Just like I wouldn't want somebody to hate on me if I ended up in Tijuana and trying to get a hustle on selling tamales or something. I don't know. Anyway. But, as I kind of expound on Uber, for those of you who don't know, I spent 12 years in healthcare, 6 years in a level 1 trauma center as a non-clinical person supporting all the clinical people, and then 6 years as a manager for a family practice, urgent care, all the visiting specialties, ortho, sleep, whatever. Getting laid off from that, like, sometimes I describe it as a blessing in disguise. And as I applied for some other jobs, I had some interviews with Trader Joe's. They didn't hire me, although they'll hire Craig Conant. He's a comedian who used to work at Trader Joe's and got fired. If you don't know him, go find him on TikTok, Instagram. He's funny. He's got a podcast called Community Service. Funny as shit. Love the guy. In the interview, they're like, why do you want to work for Trader Joe's? Or, so I had to, look at these questions and, because there's, YouTube videos, what exactly they're going to ask. Do you want to get the job? Blah, 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 blah. And, I had to think about it, and I kind of practiced my answers, practiced for the interview, because this was a job I really wanted. Because, one, I'm a foodie. I love Trader Joe's. I'm a foodie. I cooked for many years. And most of the time, I think when you go into a Trader Joe's, it seems like everybody wants to be there. All the people working, that is. And except maybe Craig Conant. So we lost my train of thought there because I was thinking about something funny. Hold on. Okay, yeah. So I was interviewing, and in the interview, they're like, "Well, why do you want to work here?" And I was like, "Hey, everybody wants to be here, but the one thing that kind of caught up to me that wore on me is when you work in trauma centers or urgent cares or family practice, and you got to tell maybe somebody they got cancer or something. You're meeting people at their worst, on their worst days, and it takes a toll on you. I did it. I did it for 12 years. It's a part of me, it's a piece of me. My way to give, my way to love, my way to care, my way to be compassionate. But it took a lot from me, and that's why I say that kind of getting laid off was a blessing in disguise. And, now, whether it's through the podcast or Uber or Trader Joe's, if they want to call me back and hire me, I look to bring something positive to people, to meet people, maybe not in a negative situation, but also it was kind of the same in a way that, hey, I love delivering because I want to deliver happiness and make someone's day. Or if I go pick up something and you see a worker who doesn't look happy, I try to make their day. But, saying a few kind words, smiling, telling someone to have a good day is a hell of a lot less energy than trying to save someone's life when they're at their worst or they don't make it. So that took a toll on me. And God bless the people who I did it with, who continue to do it. And, I just pray for them that they're able to process it, heal from it, and that they don't take on any vices or negative behaviors that impacts their own health and well-being, especially mental well-being. Because I feel like after 12 years, that's what was impacted on me the most. And so, and part of it was that, and part of it's just dealing with corporate bullshit and corporate people. They're all about the money, You make no mistake about it. They may be a nonprofit. They may have a cool little mission statement. It might even include some religious words or whatever. But make no mistake, the people at the top, they're like the wolves of Wall Street, hiding behind a mission statement. They don't care. So, but on another note, we were, math is difficult for my daughter. They teach it different. I help her, try to, but man, the way I learn, whether it's division, this or that, just not the same. So, so we looked into one of those programs you may have heard of, like Mathnasium or whatever. And, I call them because I want to get a price. Let's get some information. Let's get a price. Let's see if this is something that would be beneficial that we might like to do. And, it's like, no, we don't want to give you a price. Like, well, let's get your daughter set up for an assessment. That way we can figure out the best program and blah, blah, the whole spiel. I'm like, well, I finally got the lady to send me the price in an email, kind of. And it was expensive. I'm talking like fucking car payment expensive. But, this is kind of one of these whole things that just irritates the shit out of me. And that is, like you call somebody or you go to a place, you want to know, like, the price. Hey, can I afford it? Is it worth it? Blah, blah, whatever the case is. Just give me the fucking price. Don't try to make me come see you. Don't try to sell me your bullshit. I don't care. Look, if I showed up to your website, your place of business, whatever it is, I'm already interested. Okay? So, you don't need to sell me your bullshit. Keep it to yourself. I don't need to hear how fucking great it is. Just give me the price so I can make a decision. Yes, no, maybe so. Is this something I can afford right now? Is this something I need to save to do? And is it worth it? So, yeah, if you're out there, you're a business owner, you work for one of these places, just cut the shit. Give us the price. Be transparent. That's all we want. Honesty. What, am I going to send my daughter in to take an assessment? You're probably going to charge me for the assessment and then tell me everything she needs and, hey, it's going to be this much. And it's like, I was able to look at the car payment type price and go, I'm going to have to help her. Maybe we can find a high school kid who can tutor her. But, they have these lessons on iReady. And, when we asked her math teacher about a place like Mathnasium or these other similar places, she said, hey, iReady's actually set up to each student to practice what they need work on based on the standardized testing that's performed in the beginning, middles of the year, or whatnot. So, yeah. And that was kind of one thing that I was like, oh, okay, so we can utilize that. But maybe it's time that I sit with her on iReady and help explain to her the why or the how. Because, I think math can be difficult for some. For some people it's easy, almost like language. To me it's kind of something you got to do every day. And there's a lot of stuff, but kind of what I try to teach my daughter is how you arrive at the answer sometimes is just as important. Understanding, because they're into word problems a lot. Understanding what the word problem is asking and what numbers are you going to put together, what numbers are you going to subtract from. If you got a remainder, and let's say the question says how many tables, if each table holds 8, and then there's a remainder, you got to know to add that extra table. Because, hey, if there's a remainder, you still need an extra table. Don't focus on the unimportant parts. And so I've been trying to do that more, but it's hard, because I know my daughter loves me, but, as kids, we all probably thought our parents were full of shit, or didn't know what they were talking about, or didn't want to take advice from them, or didn't want to learn from them. Maybe my daughter feels that way, maybe she doesn't. I don't know. She was young. She knows I have a master's degree and whatnot, so she knows I'm capable. So I think she listens to me a little, but it's just a little more on the focus and attention, I guess you could say. But hell, I'm tired at the end of the day. It's like if you go to school from 8 to 3:45, and then let's say you got practice for a play or Boys and Girls Club or something, and you get home at 6:37 and you've had a full day. Who wants to focus on math? And it's hard because, isn't it probably, I don't know, for some people, like, I'm most productive in the beginning of my day. Like to wake up, do my thing, go to the gym like I did this morning. Now I'm going to record, I'm recording. And then I'm going to go out and make some money, make some people happy. It's Friday. Uber's usually pretty good on a Friday. And, that's what I want to do. So, but anyways, that's it for all the notes I got. And hopefully this turned out well with the GarageBand. I'm going to have to save it to a WAV file and upload it, try it a different way. But, hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed me trying to be a little more open, a little more vulnerable, because it's hard. It's scary. Nobody wants to be judged. But, fuck it. I'm going to do it anyway. But I hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, scroll on by. Don't listen. If you do listen, do me a favor. Go follow it on Spotify. I'm on TikTok and Instagram under the Men of the House podcast. Cost you nothing to hit the follow button. Means everything to me. So don't be a dick. Don't be lazy. Go out, give it a listen, hit the follow. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.